Welcome to Fresh to Frozen and Back. This show is going to make your life easier. In each episode, I'll teach you how to prepare delicious and better for you meals, how to freeze them properly, and then bring them back to the table at a later date. This episode is all about soup with spuds. In each of these three recipes, I'm going to be using Idaho potatoes. I absolutely love them. They are the best potatoes out there. So make sure you look for the Grown in Idaho seal when you're shopping for your potatoes. Idaho potatoes are considered to be the most versatile vegetable in the produce aisle and are certified by the American Heart Association as a heart-healthy food. Idaho potatoes are naturally fat, sodium, gluten, and cholesterol-free, and one 5.2-ounce potato has only 110 calories. Look for the Grown in Idaho seal when purchasing potatoes. Idaho's growing season of warm days and cool nights, ample mountain-fed irrigation, and rich volcanic soil give Idaho potatoes their unique texture, taste, and dependable performance, and differentiate them from russet potatoes grown in other states. For recipes and information on Idaho potatoes, visit idahopotato.com. The first recipe is a turkey cheeseburger soup, and you are going to absolutely love it. And here's all you do. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna heat a pan up with a little bit of olive oil in the pan, and we're just a little bit, because I'm using ground turkey breast, which is super lean. So I'm gonna put just a little bit of fat in the bottom of the pan, which is extra virgin olive oil. Get that heated, and then we're gonna add this turkey. And again, this is ground turkey breast, organic. It's already sizzling. It takes just a few minutes to cook. And I'm going to just kind of break this up with the back of the spoon so I have little pieces. I don't want a lot of huge chunks, so I want it to be like a meat, like little pieces of meat distributed throughout the soup. I love soup, especially as the weather gets colder. Actually, even in the summer, and not just those cold summer soups. Okay, so this is all cooked through, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set this aside and then wash up the pan, and then when we come back, I'm gonna finish off the soup. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so the turkey's all cooked, it's no longer pink, and now what we're gonna do is we are going to saute some garlic, some onion, and some celery. So we'll put the onion in first, lots of onion. I love onion, it's very good for you too. Some garlic, and some celery that's been finely chopped. And we're gonna mix that all up. And just let this cook until it starts to soften. I'm gonna add a little bit of Worcestershire that's gonna give you that burgery kind of flavor. And that's gonna cook off as well. So we're just gonna cook this up until all of the vegetables are soft. About 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, so now they're nice and soft. I'm gonna whisk in a little bit of flour, stir in a little bit of flour. And then I'm going to get that flour all incorporated into the vegetable mixture. Okay, now we're gonna add some chicken broth. You can use vegetable broth if you'd like. And stir that in. And that flour is gonna help to thicken it a little bit. And we're just gonna cook this up, get this nice and thick. And I'm gonna add some milk. We're gonna bring this to a boil. So I've got that all stirred in there. Now the flour, there's no lumps. It's all nice and smooth in there. I'm gonna bring it to a boil, and once it boils, we're gonna add the potatoes, the Idaho russet potatoes that have been peeled and diced. Look how beautiful they are. These gorgeous little white, delicious bits of heaven. I love potatoes. One 5-ounce potato has about 110 calories, and they're very filling. Vitamin C, potassium, all kinds of nutrients, really good for you. I can feel this sauce starting to thicken. And once it hits a boil, then we are going to add these potatoes. Okay, so now I'm gonna add the potatoes and then bring this back to a boil. Crank it up to high. And just once it starts to boil, then we are going to turn it down and let it simmer for 15 minutes. So when we come back, I'm gonna finish off this soup and then we're gonna head on to the next one. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so these potatoes are nice and tender and the soup is thick, but not too thick because it's not a heavy soup, but it's got a nice thicker consistency. I'm gonna add a nice little pinch of salt, some black pepper, a pinch of crushed red pepper, and then just stir that in. And now we're gonna add that turkey back into the pot. And if you wanna use ground beef, that's fine. If you wanna use mushroom meat, that's fine, whatever you like. And then we're gonna add some shredded cheddar cheese. This is a sharp Vermont cheddar, and stir that into it. And some crumbled bacon if you like. A little bit of bacon goes a very long way in my book. So, I mean, 2 pieces of bacon can add so much flavor to this, and this is enough soup for at least 4 people. So you can measure the cheese however you like. You can add more, you can add less, whatever you want. And that's it. And the consistency is really perfect. If you want it thicker, you can actually blend up some of the potatoes and then add it back, or even blend up half the soup and add it back before you add the turkey. But this is perfect for me. And then this is just gonna get garnished with a little bit of green onion. And you can add a little more cheese on top if you'd like. So let me turn this off. So this is a turkey cheeseburger soup. That's exactly what it tastes like. It looks so yummy. So I'm gonna drain some of this off so we have a nice little thickness on top. You can see the potatoes and the bacon. Great. Green onion, and maybe a little hit more bacon, and another pinch of crushed red, because you guys know how much I love it. So this is your turkey cheeseburger soup. And when we come back, I am going to make a simple and quick Manhattan clam chowder and a chicken and broccoli soup. Stay tuned. Okay, so now a very simple but flavorful chicken and broccoli soup. And here's all you do. Turn on the stove, get some heat cranking, and we're going to add a little olive oil. Just like before, we're gonna add some onion and garlic together. Some people don't like garlic in soup. My mother doesn't. She doesn't like garlic in soup, but I do. I like it in everything. So we're gonna let that cook for a minute till it gets nice and hot and the onions start to soften. It smells so good. Okay, so now we're gonna add a little bit of flour and stir that in. And that, again, just like before, is going to help thicken the soup. Then we will whisk in some milk. A little bit at first to just make sure that you don't get any lumps in there. And you can see it starting to thicken already. And all 3 of these soups freeze beautifully. So if you want to, you can make it in a big batch and then freeze it in containers, which I'll show you some frozen ones at the end. And we'll do some broth. And you can use vegetable broth, chicken broth, whatever broth you like, beef broth. Beef broth might be a little bit strong, but it'll be good. And then we're gonna bring this to a boil and it'll start to thicken up. And then we're gonna add the potatoes and bring it back to a boil. So while we're waiting for this to boil, I'm gonna just clean up a little bit, and when we come back, we're gonna add the chicken and the broccoli and some cheese, some other things, and I'll show you how to do it when we come back. Okay, so this has been simmering for about 8 minutes and the potatoes are just soft, like al dente. You don't want them too soft yet because it's still gonna cook a little bit. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring the heat up a little bit and add the broccoli, because we want it to cook, but it only takes like 2 minutes. So we add the broccoli. And what I love about when you add the broccoli to make this soup, and any type of soup, is once you drop it in, these little pieces off the florets kind of fleck the entire soup with these little bits of green, and it's really pretty. So we have the broccoli, and we're gonna cook that for about 2 minutes. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna add a little pinch of salt, again, a pinch of black pepper, and some crushed red, of course. Okay, and you can see the broccoli has bright green. You don't want to overcook it or it's going to go opposite. It's going to start getting olive and not retain that beautiful brightness. We're going to add the chicken. And you can see the thickness of this soup. And now we're going to stir in the cheese. I actually can add a little bit more broth to this. And then we'll have to bring that up to a boil again. There we go. And it's not that it was too thick, it's just, I mean, it was very chunky soup. And that adding this cheese to it is going to thicken it even a little bit more. Now let's add the cheese. You can add as much as you'd like. It's like a broccoli cheddar soup. And it's very rich. And just kind of smooth that around. And that's gonna get in there and thicken it and add that wonderful flavor. And I like a sharp cheddar. You can use a mild cheddar, but sharp is my favorite. And then we're just gonna let that cook for about 2 minutes, and then it's done. Okay, so this is ready to plate. It smells fantastic. It smells so good. I'm gonna chop up some fresh parsley. And for those of you who watch my show, you know that I keep all the stems of my herbs in a Ziploc bag, and all of the ends of the vegetables, and I keep it in my freezer, and once that bag is full, then I make my own vegetable stock by adding water and spices, so it's really great. So let's plate it. Oh, it looks so good and it smells fantastic. Yum. Look at that. It's a nice little thickness to it, not too thick, but thick enough. Beautiful, big chunks of chicken and beautiful bright green broccoli. Clean up the edges of your plate always. Makes it look so much prettier. And then we're gonna add a little bit of fresh parsley and a pinch of crushed red. So that's our second soup, our potato soup, our soup made with Idaho spuds. That is a chicken and broccoli and cheese and potato soup. When we come back, I'm gonna show you one of my favorites, which is Manhattan clam chowder, which my father loves and I've loved since I was a kid, and our whole family enjoys it. And I'm gonna show you how to make a really fast one that will knock your socks off. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, quick Manhattan clam chowder. I love Manhattan clam chowder. Super easy, and here's all you do. Gonna turn on the stove and heat up a little bit of olive oil. We're gonna again cook the vegetables. So here we have onions, celery, and carrot, which is called a Mp4. And it's starting to sizzle. I love carrots in soup. So we're gonna let that cook. I'm gonna add a little pinch of salt and the rest of this pepper here, and just stir it up and let these vegetables cook for about 4 to 5 minutes until they're tender, but not mushy. Okay, so now they're tender, and I'm gonna add some crushed red pepper flakes, some fresh thyme leaves, I love that, and 2 bay leaves, which are gonna add a really nice flavor, and just kind of incorporate that in there. Oh my gosh, I can smell that thyme immediately just permeated this kitchen. Now we're gonna add some of the liquid ingredients, the clam juice, which has been separated from the clams if you used canned clams. You can use fresh clams, which I do a lot, but this is a quick one, so I wanted to show you how to make a really quick one. Stir that clam juice in, let it cook for like 30 seconds just to get into those vegetables on its own. Great. Now we're gonna add some broth. The vegetable broth, you don't want anything with like a root vegetable in it, because it will really change the flavor of this. So we've got chicken broth, then we've got some diced tomatoes. Oh my gosh, we're gonna let that cook. A little bit of crushed tomatoes. These are fire roasted crushed tomatoes. That's gonna add a really awesome flavor. And we're gonna add the potatoes, and then the Idaho potatoes, the russets that have been peeled and diced, and then we're gonna bring that to a boil. So I'm gonna bring this to a boil, and then I'm gonna let it simmer for about 5 to 8 minutes until the potatoes are tender, because they're in very small pieces, so they cook very quickly, and you don't want them to be mushy. So I'm just gonna let that simmer for 5 to 8 minutes, and then when we come back, I'm gonna finish it up, plate it, and we'll end the show, and I'll show you, talk about how to freeze everything. See you in a minute. Okay, so now the potatoes are tender, and you can tell by sticking a knife through them, and if it pierces through easily, that means it's definitely done. You don't want to overcook them. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add the clams. They're already cooked, obviously, and a little bit of bacon. You don't have to add it, but I do like the way it brings a flavor to this that's really good. And then what you'll do is you'll just put a lid on this, turn it off, and let it sit for like 5 minutes just to let all those flavors meld. But I'm just gonna plate it to show you. Okay, so this is quick Manhattan clam chowder. Oh, and whoever gets the bay leaf is the lucky one. That's what we always said in our family. Whoever got the bay leaf has got some good luck coming on. Look at this. Oh, these tomatoes look good and all these beautiful clams. Okay, so here we have this quick and spectacular Manhattan clam chowder. And it definitely, my dad always used Tabasco, that's his favorite. But I'm gonna garnish this with a little bit of parsley just right in the middle here, because I already spread it around the edge of that one, so we want it to kind of look different. So we have Manhattan clam chowder, a simple broccoli, cheese, and chicken soup, and a turkey cheeseburger soup. They all freeze great. So all you do, just to give you an idea, is this, you just take a container with a lid, like any freezer safe container. You're gonna put a piece of masking tape on the top, label it what it is, when it was made, and then just stick it in the freezer. So when I make soup, I make it in big batches so that I can, you know, take them out and have individual or just for a family evening. So you can use the double size, that's this size, or individual, or even tiny small ones, but who's gonna eat that much soup? I eat double that. So that's it. All these soups freeze great. You just take them out, you stick them in a pan on top of the stove, and then just let them cook down nice and slow, and revived soup, you get to do it again. Thanks for watching Fresh to Frozen and Back. Please share this episode with those that you love. Follow me on social media at Diane Hendricks. Check out my website, dianehendricks.com, for recipes and all kinds of other interesting things. And don't forget to check out Idaho Potatoes at idahopotatoes.com. I'll see you next time.